Hey YouTubers, we're going back to the graveyard today. Don't go away. Hey everybody, it's Paul from Fat Guy Productions coming to you as always from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. And today we are indeed going back deep into the graveyard. And we're going to unearth a Sweet 16 Volkswagen Beetle. It's going to be a lot of fun. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I did one a little while ago with a Terero, and I pulled it out of the graveyard and I restored it and I shared it with you guys, and you really seemed to enjoy it, so we're going to do another one. And I have to be honest with you, about halfway through I thought to myself, this is going right back into the junk pile because it's too far gone. Well, one of my personal hero and favorite diecast restorer, Diecast Resurrection, he showed me the light. He was doing one of his videos and it hit me like a shot. I could do that! And I did it, and it came out great. I'm not going to tell you what that is yet. You'll see it in the video here in a second. But this car is because of the concept I got from Diecast Resurrection. So let's go ahead and get right to it. Okay, if you all remember back a little while, I just did a Terero. I took it out of my Left for Dead pile and I pulled it back to life. Well, that's what we're doing here with this beat up bug, man. This thing is really garbage and I don't have a lot of hope for it, but we're going to give it a try because he really seemed to like that Left for Dead video. Okay, so I'm down here at the electro polisher and zinc plating and stuff with my Volkswagen, and man, let me show you. This thing was in such bad shape. I really wasn't sure what I was going to be able to do with it, and well, I hope you can see how badly pitted it still is over there. I've sanded this about as far as I dare go. You can see right under the windows I'm already losing that body line. I still have all those deep pits. Still have some in the roof. I think this is about as good as it's going to get. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and run this through the zinc plating. It's been through it once. It's going to go through it one more time. A nice long zinc plating. I'm going to steel wool it, and then I'll decide if I can go ahead and paint it in Spectra Flame, or if I'm going to have to use some filler and an opaque paint. Okay, so after taking it through the electropolisher and putting a little more zinc on it to kind of smooth everything out and give myself an idea of where I'm at, I can see I have a lot of sanding in my future. So I'm going to hit it up and start sanding, and then I'm going to sand, and I might actually do some sanding. After I'm done with the sanding, I think I'll do some sanding, only to find out that it's not really going very well. Certainly the car looks better than it did when it started, but I gotta be honest, right here, look where I'm sanding, just underneath those windows, there's a body line, and I'm really obliterating that, and I'm at a point where I'm gonna have to stop, and I'm gonna have to scrap my idea of painting this in Spectra Flame. I think I'm gonna have to start thinking about painting it in a opaque color. Alright, I took some fine sandpaper and softened everything up, but you can see, man, there are still just a ton of dings and dents in here, and all of that will show up like nobody's business under Spectra Flame. So I think I'm pretty much screwed here. Since I know now I'm going to have to put something opaque over this car, I can go ahead and break out my Vallejo putty. I don't know if this is the best putty in the world for a die-cast car, but I'm going to try it because I like it with my plastic models. If not, I can always try other things. I have about like 3,000 tubes of filler, and so I can always try something on the next project. But today it's Vallejo. Alright, so I'm just going to kind of splotch it on wherever I see some of this damage, and I'm going to smooth it out. Then I'll give the car a quick sanding, and finally I'm going to seal it all up with a 1 or 2 coats of, to me, a fine primer, followed by some fine sanding, and try and smooth this body out so it will take a nice opaque paint. Right about this time in my real life, I saw Diecast Resurrection using some new paints from Createx to apply a candy finish to his car that looked very, very spectraflamey. And that gave me some hope and got me to thinking I might try something. So I picked up some of the paints and the balancing clear and the thinner, but they didn't have the silver and black. So I'm going to break out after I'm finished here, and I'm going to put down my all-clad glossy black base, and then I'm going to use my all-clad chrome, and I'm going to lightly mist that on top to get the chrome starting point that he uses. So here's the bug with the all-clad glossy black base finish, and you can see that it's going to work just fine over primer or whatever because I don't need a polished silver body anymore. So I've got that, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down all-clad chrome, and to do that I'm going to use very low pressure and very light passes and just slowly build that up until I have a chrome-like finish on this Volkswagen, and then we can turn to the Createx products. I know this works for Diecast Resurrection, and I hope it works for me. Here's the Createx paint. It's actually not a paint, it's more like a pigment, and it's a cool looking blue. And then I've got the balancing clear and the thinner, and so I can go ahead and mix up a batch and put it down on this car. So to begin with, as always, I'll break out my mist bottle and I'll wet everything down in my spray booth so that no floating willy wonkers will land on my fresh new paint job. And then I can put that aside. Now I can go ahead and start mixing up this Createx paint setup. Now, having never used this stuff before, I'm going to mix up way too much. Just word to the wise, you don't need this much. That's a lot of paint. I could paint like 4 cars with as much as I just put in there. And then we'll go ahead and add the balancing clear and then thin it down to airbrush consistency using their thinner. And then we can go ahead and lay it down. Alright, everything's in the cup, and I'll give it a good mixy mix, and then we can go ahead and dump it into the airbrush cup and start putting it down. Now to apply this paint, I'm going to put it down just like I put down anything else. I'm going to begin with a mist coat, then a couple medium passes, and then I'm going to put down some wet coats. The one thing I did notice though is on this very first mist coat, I could see color. I could see a lot of color. This comes down with a lot of power, okay? So apply a very light hand to the airbrush here. There is so much pop and hue and saturation in this paint, I can't begin to tell you. It looks amazing. And whatever you see here in my video, amplify that by about 1,000,000 because this color is amazing. I can't even tell you how much better this looks in person. Okay, the color is amazing, but it did dry a little bit satiny. So after letting it dry, I went ahead and finished it off with the clear coat urethane from Redline Shops. And man, it just looks amazing. So we'll set that aside to dry for 3, 4, 5 days. And we'll turn our attention to the other parts of the car. Now here I'm about to make a pretty good boo-boo. It's not life-altering or anything like that, but it is a mistake. I bought a new window for this because, well, I'll show you mine here in a second. Mine was pretty much destroyed. And so I bought a new window, and like always, I'm going to dunk it in gauzy. Well, that is the mistake. I should not just slam dunk this window into the gauzy. Because you see, it's got a moving part. It's got a little hatch in it. And, bad idea. What I should have done is just dipped it strategically. So I covered the windshield, the back window, and the side windows, and not touched the hatch with the gauzy at all. It worked out fine in the end, but I would not do it the same way if I were doing it over again. So there's my replacement window. There's the original, and here you can see, look at this thing. It's kind of, I don't know how it got so bad because the Volkswagen wasn't so bad, but man, it's all squashed and squished, and it's just a mess, so it's got to go. Alright, here's a brand new one, ready to go. Let's pop this sucker out of the bag, and we can go ahead and get her dipped by doing the wrong thing. Don't dip it. Strategically dip it. Learn from my mistakes. I even just hate watching this part because I know I'm sitting here screaming, "No, don't do it! Don't do it! Ah!" It's like dipping the heroin into the vat of acid. No! Don't do it. Well, mistake's been made. Live with it. Okay, so anyhow, it's dipped. It is what it is. And now we'll do the rest as normal. We'll go ahead and wick off as much as we can into the paper towel, and then we'll set it aside with a little cover to keep anything from landing on it and ruining it. And we'll put that off out of the way where it can dry until we're ready for it. Okay, so I had an epiphany. The paint job, I got the idea from Diecast Resurrection, and he also likes to put quote-unquote big old booties on the back of his car. So I'm going to see if I can get the fattest, biggest Redline tires I have in my arsenal to fit on this Volkswagen. Some big old booties. So right here, I'm just doing a little bit of a test fit to make sure it's going to work out. It looks like it will. Now, the best way would be to push the wheel on and try it that way. But these bearings, they don't like any of this manipulation, so I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. If it looks right, then I'll put them on and hope for the best. Okay, so the booties are going to fit, and so I'm just using my my alignment tool, and I put it behind the bearing, hook it on the axle, and then I press the wheel on, and this makes sure that everything is equally spaced and put on properly. And I'll do the same for the front end, and then I'll use the tool for its intended purpose, aligning the wheels. Key element when aligning these wheels, close is close enough, okay? These bearings are old and worn out, and there's going to be a lot of slop and play in them, and so unless you're planning to replace them, close is close enough, okay? Just get it so it looks good and you're happy with it, and that's all you need to do. You know, you don't want to fight with it to the point where you break something or make the situation worse. Now, as to the actual alignment itself, I basically hook the tool over the wire axle and I apply counter pressure by pulling down against the base, and then I twist or bend in the direction the wheel and axle needs to go to make it line up right. Alright? And it's just as easy as that. Go around, hit all fours, and remember, close is close enough. Okay, with all the wheels on, I can go ahead and actually do a real good test fit now and see if this is all going to work out, and it is, and it is going to look so cool. I'm so happy I decided to go with this. This is going to look badass.
So that'll be great. Oh yeah, I like it. I like it. That's gonna be so awesome.
Alright, that is absolutely enough farting around. Let's put this sucker together, man. Okay, metal motor gets put in. We're going to secure it with a screw. We did drill out its post, and we will screw the motor into the base. We're also going to go ahead and drop in our windshield and our freshly cleaned interior. And then we're going to go ahead and drop the base down over it, and we're going to screw this all together with some button-headed screws. We can get the screws from Brightvision or the Redline Shop, either or. I like the 256 screws. They're a little bit bigger, and I just prefer them, but sometimes the posts are pretty thin, and you need the 172, so it's not a bad thing to keep some of both on hand. Okay, and there it is in all its glory with that deep, rich, Spectraflame feeling paint job and the big fat tires in the back. This thing is just sick. Okay, really, seriously. I can't tell you how cool this thing looks up close. This picture doesn't do it any justice. Even the glamour shot I put at the end does not do this car justice. So I hope you liked it. Alright, there you have it. The Redline Volkswagen Beetle. And it is amazing. I gotta tell you, okay, you guys are missing out here because you can't understand the depth of this paint job unless you see it up close and personal. And I think Diecast has even said that in some of his videos. But man, the paint job is stunning. Absolutely my favorite paint job I'm blown away by it. And then, you know, in an homage to him and a sort of a thank you, I put big old booties on the back, and it's ready for his buddy Jimmy to come jump in it and go do some donuts or something like that. So anyhow, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, click subscribe, click the bell to be notified anytime that I release a new video. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and just post them down below. I really do read them all, and I try and get back to everybody. Okay, this is Paul from Fat Guy Productions. It's Easter Sunday. I've got family obligations. I want to go hang with my family. The Knights are playing tonight, so I'm going to get out of here. I hope you have an amazing day, no matter what religion you're following, what is important to you. I hope it all works out today for you in an amazing, wonderful day. Until next time, be good.